Warning, this episode features language of an offensive and derogatory nature. We have not attempted to censor out any of the language used due to the fact it does benefit our explanation on New Zealander slang words. This episode was not intended to offend or insult anyone in any way, shape or form. This video was made for educational and cultural purposes. You have been warned.
Hi guys, it's Lauren from Kiwi Rugby Travel Stories.
And I am Sarah from Kiwiontheloose.
So today we're going to talk about Kiwi slang with you. So then when you come to New Zealand, you'll be able to have some mean-as language skills. Cheer, bro. So I think we've covered probably some little basics at the moment, but I think we can go on to a couple more real, ones that can be quite funny as well. And also one that we also, a lot of Australians don't actually understand, and I think it's OE, isn't it?
Yeah, I've mentioned it a couple of times to people here about Kiwis going on their big OE, and people are like, what is that? Basically, it's overseas experience. So there used to be a time back in the day where a lot of Kiwis would go over to the UK especially and do like 2 years of work over in the UK, and it would be classed as the big OE.
I think in Australia it would be something similar to a gap year. Yeah, it'd be something, if you don't know what a gap year is, once you finish school you might not actually decide that you want to go to university. So a lot of people, a lot of young people, they'll actually take a year off in between high school and university and go overseas and have a bit of an adventure. So
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah. They go backpacking around Europe and work where they can and things like that. So
Definitely.
Well, on the same kind of theme as travel, Chiquito, another one of my favourite sayings, Chiquito. Chiquito pretty much is like taking the scenic route, which really means that you're lost.
You're on a wild goose chase, basically. That sounds like something my dad would do. Would just say it's the old Perry shortcut.
It
just kind of go
I've
by
been on many Chiquito over the years. And they've all turned out to be adventures. So I think that's the best thing about a tiki tour is the fact that you can have some really amazing adventures just by being lost, basically. But you turn it into something flash by saying tiki tour.
And like I remember I said it one day, and this was actually on my sister's Facebook page, and they're like, "What's a tiki tour?" And then you got to go explain it. It's like a wild goose chase.
A lot of things that I say, having lived here for 13 years, I still get people at work go to me, what are you talking about when I say words like dairy is another prime example. People think I'm talking about a dairy farm where the cows are. No, I'm talking about the corn shop.
One that's actually got quite popular, one I'm going to talk about that's actually got really popular over the last couple of years is Nick Minute.
Yeah, I hate it personally, but
it actually got really famous by a skateboarder named Levi Portman. He did his own little YouTube stint, and it was just like 10 seconds and it went viral, and it's basically now just a word that everybody says. So pretty much Nick Minute just means like next minute. So, something like...
something will happen. You'll be doing something, and then the next minute, something happens.
It's pretty much just like that's how it is. It doesn't actually mean next. In the next minute, you wouldn't really say it like that. It'll be something like if something happens, or next minute, and that's pretty much how it means. So it's only been in the last kind of couple of years it's really got famous. It sort of was around about the same time as Munted that it actually sort of, those two sort of just become quite popular. It got really overused.
You could say it was overused, but everyone was saying it. I mean, it's a funny video, and at the time it was quite funny, but then when you hear it about 1,000 times in an hour, you're just like, but it's still a cool word.
Because in saying that, another word that I'm going to say is about gum on. So, and it's predominantly something that in the North Island, especially Pacific Island. So like South Islander words and North Islander words,
We're very different in the South Island.
Very different. So, it's predominantly something mainly a Pacific Islander would say. It basically means, come on. And you know, the way people say it, I know that there's a TV show over in New Zealand for Police 10-7, so you probably know it quite well.
I've seen it. Yeah, I have definitely seen it.
Anyway, this particular one where this guy, he actually got pulled over by a police officer, and he got into a bit of trouble. He actually had some outstanding warrants and stuff like that, and they said, yeah, you got to be in court on this day. Oh, come on, I can't come. You know, it was something stupid like that, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, if you watch those shows, actually, they're really good.
They're really
to get to listen to a lot of Kiwi slang.
It's actually quite funny when you say it, because I know so many people where their relatives, especially people of a Māori persuasion, where their relatives end up actually on those TV shows. So, and you're like, oh my god. But actually going on about when you hear about relatives who end up getting themselves on the wrong side of the law and stuff like that, and predominantly people of a Māori persuasion, you might actually hear about the word Hori. So,
yeah, again, that's not one that I am overly familiar with.
Yeah. Hori. Oh, how do you describe Hori in the nicest way possible? It's basically how to describe in North America you might hear somebody be called a redneck, or in Australia you might hear somebody be called a bogan. In New Zealand it's predominantly a Māori person you'd be actually calling a Hori, and it's somebody that has it becomes the really low class, pretty much described as a thief basically. Turns up to the shopping centre in their PJs. Goes to the nightclub in their gumboots, that kind of stuff, you know. And in saying that,
so not a classy person then.
Not a very classy person. You might hear it as a joke, and you just if you hear that being said as a joke, you just laugh it off. But if you're talking about Hori, you might hear about Hori styles, and you'll hear about people trying to put foil on their spark plugs to try and get their car going again. They'll have the dodgiest thing going. You'll hear about them using cigarette wrappers and stuff like that to actually get something that really needs a real expensive fix, and that would work. It'll work really well. You know,
Kiwi ingenuity at its best.
Yeah, just really dodgy things that you'll hear about, and it'll be just the funniest thing. Or as I said before about my mate Aaron, he'll be definitely the one who'll actually turn up to the nightclub in his gumboots. So, yeah.
But if we want to talk derogatory words or derogatory terms, I think we've got the primo one.
Especially if you're from especially if you're not from Auckland.
Yeah.
So sorry for my Auckland followers out there.
So yeah, Jaffa, and it's not just a tangy, orangey chocolate treat.
No.
It is a bit of a derogatory term because from the rest of New Zealand, there are a lot of Aucklanders.
Yeah.
And
should we tell them what actually Jaffa does mean?
You can say it, I'm not.
Okay. It just basically means just another fucking Aucklander. That's all it means. So
there's so damn many of them.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Auckland in New Zealand is the most populated city in New Zealand. So, and you will find somebody who will come from Auckland.
It's like Sydney for Australians.
Yeah.
You just Sydney is just so full of people, and Auckland has got the most of the population lives in and around Auckland, and we think the rest of the country thinks that they think they're pretty special.
Yeah.
I was mentioning this to Lauren earlier, and I did read an article a few years ago where the term Jaffa was actually used overseas for Australians. Same meaning. Basically because there's so many Australians go overseas to do travel and stuff, and there just seemed to be a whole lot of them at one point, and they got known as Jaffas as well.
Yeah.
But we definitely use it in regards to Aucklanders.
Yeah. So it's pretty much everywhere else except for Auckland that will actually use it. So
we love you guys, but
there's some, I will say that they think that sometimes they do think that they are untouchable and they are God's gift basically, but we don't think of any Aucklanders in that, especially if we've got Aucklander mates, we won't actually think of you in that way.
There's a great t-shirt from Global Culture. I don't know if they still have it, but it had on the back of it, I support two teams, Canterbury and anyone playing Auckland. So that's sort of pretty much how we feel about Auckland.
Yeah, well I think, obviously Auckland and Christchurch, and especially in the rugby, they have a massive rivalry. So I've got mates who actually are originally from Christchurch, and they actually used to go to the old NPC games and used to actually turn up this massive big Auckland is shit sign. So and you know, the cover of at least 5 or 6 people, but you know, that's especially in Christchurch, how people actually like Auckland. They don't.
Us Christchurch folk, we're pretty special too.
Yeah, but you know,
But it's 'cause we
Cantabs,
are.
when it comes to the rugby, they're probably the most one-eyed supporters you'll ever come across.
Yep.
And
Well,
you know,
what does one-eyed mean?
one-eyed, so that
Yeah.
pretty much means staunch, like really.
It means my team is the best and no one else is ever going to come close.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. They're just like the most one-eyed team that you'll ever come across, the Cantabs, you know, especially the supporters. I know a couple of years ago on Pop Sport, this is actually how passionate they are actually about it, is where one of them, they lost a bet, they actually had to walk around with a big, you know, South African jersey, South African face paint, and then they had this massive big sign that said on it is that Richie McCaw is the cheat. And well, unfortunately, he didn't really survive the end of that night, so that's pretty much saying it as a whole. So yeah, and especially when there was an older lady telling him to bugger off and stuff like
I
that.
think I remember that.
Yeah, you have no idea. I remember that. So yeah. All right. So I think our next one we can probably go to is all good.
All good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same as Sweet as.
Yeah. I think
It's
it's
just I think it's sort of self-explanatory. All
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, you know, all you have to do, you know, say for instance, somebody actually asks you to do something, or there's something wrong or something like that. Oh, that's all good. You know, if you know, somebody said to me, oh, there might be a delay with something, or do you mind waiting a couple of minutes? Oh, yeah, that's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've noticed during this that we say yeah a lot.
You say a
We
lot.
say
That's
yeah
what,
a lot.
Yeah, nah.
Which nah.
Yeah, we'll go on to that.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's a perfect thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I say that all the time too. Oh yeah, nah. Basically means no. Do you want to go?
Maybe too.
No,
So
no, it doesn't. No, not in my vocabulary. Do you want to go to the movies? Oh yeah, nah. Yeah. So pretty much no.
yeah, like I think where it depends where you come from. Like as I said, I'm from the north. You know, my family's from the North Island.
I'm
You're from the
definitely a
South
South
Islander.
Islander.
It just depends where you come from with some vocab. You know, yeah, nah can mean maybe as well. So, oh, do you want to go to, you know, as Sarah said, do you want to go to the movies? Oh, yeah, nah, no. Oh, maybe. You know, that's pretty much how it means. But yeah, nah.
I just say it because it sounds like I'm agreeing with something, and then I'm like, no. So it's, yeah.
Thank you for watching part 2 of our Kiwi Slang program. Also, thank you to Chur Burger for letting us use their restaurant on Saturday to do our filming. We had an amazing time and the food is absolutely awesome. So if you ever want to get down there, please go to 20 Constance Street in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane. Alright, look forward to showing you part 3. Bye.